in 11 different languages. But guys, there is so much to choose from because as both our guests here have talked about, there is abundance of talent when it comes to Indian cricket. We are oozing fearlessness as well. This is the next gen that is taking Indian T20 cricket forward.
They are bold. They are courageous. Undeterred by adversity. They are Team India's Gen Win. Ishan Kishan leads an assembly line of spunky young southpaws who can hit the ball far and hard. Kishan is the most experienced of the lot and will be expected to give the team solid starts. Next up is Yashasvi Jaiswal. The Mumbai opener has already had a memorable 2023 and he'd want to give the Aussies a taste of their own medicine. In Ruturaj Gaikwad, India has a classical top-order batter who can slay opposition with his effortless timing. While Tilak Varma is the perfect foil in the middle order, with his game oozing grit and class in equal measure. Arshdeep Singh is the indomitable young pacer who knows how to take the game to the opposition. These men will have their task cut out against the Aussies. They will have to play their fearless brand of cricket to get the better of a strong opposition.
Gen Next is certainly ready to roar, and also ready now with us is also Simon Katic in the house. Simon, welcome to JioCinema and Sports 18. Great to have you with us, and we're going to look forward to your thoughts. But before we come to you, we want the fans to be heard, and we've talked about our fan voice over and over again here on JioCinema. You guys have loved getting your voices heard, sharing your thoughts as well. And this is the question today. Who has been the most impressive amongst these youngsters in the last 1 year? Yashasvi leading, not by much, and that is one to watch out for as well. Ashubhai, now if you had to take your pick from these guys, you've got Yashasvi Jaiswal, Tilak, Arshdeep. If you had to pick one?
Oh, it's very difficult. I mean, I don't think so it will be good, or it will be when you discuss these comparisons, and we are not comparing them, but these three are different kind of players. You are not discussing here one spot, but it's very difficult because you are talking about somebody like Yashasvi Jaiswal who has done so well. Don't forget Tilak Varma, even in 50 over cricket he has done really well, and wherever he has played, even in domestic cricket. Arshdeep Singh, again, brilliant prospect. So it's very difficult to name one, and I'm not kidding, you have shown just three. If you put another three and you will ask somebody to choose three, it's just personal liking, disliking, you can say, or your choice. But all three of them are fantastic players, and everybody has seen that, and we all know that.
Simon, from the Aussie perspective, a lot of people might think, oh, you've just come off a World Cup win. What does this series really mean to Australia? But let's not forget, when this happened after the last T20 World Cup where Australia played England in the ODI format, Travis Head was tested as an ODI opener, and we know what Travis Head did for Australia. So it is a very, very important series, isn't it, for Team Australia here?
Oh, it certainly is. I think there's obviously the T20 World Cup coming up next year in the Caribbean and the US. Obviously there's spots to play for. There's 6 big guns that have gone home for that test series in Australia coming up. So it gives opportunities to the youngsters. We've seen Travis Head in the last 18 months go from strength to strength in all formats, and I think a lot of that's due to the backing of the management. He's got huge belief in his own game now, and we saw in the World Cup final the other night what damage he can do at the top of the order. So the role suits him, but not only him, there's a number of players. Steve Smith's got a point to prove, coming off a great BBL last year, so there's plenty at stake for these Australians tonight.
Yeah, there certainly is. And when you look at the depth of India's squad as well, guys, just so much talent. Ashubha, you've talked about it a lot. The Indian squad and all the depth that's in it, a very good chance for a lot of the youngsters to settle that spot in India's T20 World Cup squad too.
See, again and again, I am repeating myself. T20 World Cup is very far. Don't forget 2 months of IPL, and before that these 11 games. And see, when you talk about these guys, I don't see anyone who is going to make his debut. You know, All these guys are there and thereabout, and that's the beauty of IPL. You have seen these guys even before getting picked for India. They have showcased their talent. And again, forget T20 World Cup. If you show these 11 names or 15 names and you ask how many of them will play next T20 series against South Africa, we don't know, because see, team management is there, selectors are there, how they think, how they want to see this series. And again, there is no shortage of talent apart from these 11, these 15, and there are so many top guns, they are not even playing, both the teams. Yeah, so again, if you talk about series to series, I can understand that when you play any international cricket, you perform, it makes a difference, but you are not looking, I hope that Indian selectors or team management is not looking to make a T20 World Cup squad from now, from 1 or 2, 3 T20 games, you know, because you're not talking about 2 weeks and these games, and after that there is nothing, there's just the camp or preparation, then it's different. You are talking about 11 games and there's the big beast coming, IPL.
There is a big beast coming, but for the Aussies as well, Simon, yes, there are 7 members of that squad that are returning after the World Cup from the ODI format, but again, a lot of young, interesting names that will be tested too.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's a lot of players that played in the recent T20 International Series in South Africa, where Australia won 3-0. And we're seeing a number of those players get opportunities again here tonight. Obviously, the Australian quicks have all gone home for the Australian Test summer. And you see there, Nathan Ellis, Behrendorff, Zampa's still in the squad, obviously had a fantastic World Cup. And those guys will get an opportunity to impress. They were very good in South Africa in that series. Sean Abbott had a good series as well. It's the batting lineup. Obviously, Glenn Maxwell was outstanding here during that World Cup. I was a little bit surprised he didn't get the captaincy. However, Matthew Wade's done a fantastic job and he gets the reins again in this 5 T20 series.
Yeah, it really has been a tremendous run for some of these men as well. And as you said, Matthew Wade, he's had a bit of magic. He is one of the new captains. Because on the flip side of things for India, you've got Surya Kumar Yadav, and what a year he has had. It's been incredible to see the rise of Surya Kumar Yadav in this format. But therefore, it is only right that we focus on Surya's batting, his approach coming into this series as well. This is Sky at his very best.
Keeping that T20 World Cup in mind, my message to them is very clear. Just be fearless and do whatever it takes to help the team.
He doesn't mind hitting the first ball for 6.
Mumbai, but also India. And on his night, no one can stop him. There's no one in world cricket that can stop him. He's got the full range of shots. But what I've noticed most is the big transformation has been in his body shape. He's become a lot more powerful up top, and I think that's translated to what we're seeing on the field now. He's always had the skill.
He always has had the skill. There's something really special whenever he comes out to bat. There's a buzz about the stadium whenever Surya walks out as well. Ashubha, there's this magic about him, isn't there? I mean, we talk about him being India's answer to Mr. 360, but I can see a smile on your face already when you mention Surya Kumar Yadav and you see shots like this.
Yeah, I mean, see, when you talk about 360 degree, earlier we have spoken AB de Villiers. He is another prime example, modern day Surya Kumar Yadav. And when you talk about T20, especially in this format, he has been amazing. There's no doubt about it. Doesn't matter how much you discuss, doesn't matter how many conversations you do. even oppositions, I am saying, lots of people I have seen, I have met, that way to bowl to this guy, and especially when you talk about in IPL, not only on that 1KD pitch, he is one guy who has done and performed everywhere, and like Simon rightly mentioned, he got the opportunity at number 3 and he grabbed it, and how? Not with both hands. You can speak as much as you want.
Yeah, this is really going to be a good test there for the Aussies up against someone like Suryakumar Yadav as well. But we've talked about our fan voice questions. We want you guys to keep getting involved. We asked you the India perspective earlier, but what we'd like to ask you now is the Aussie perspective, because we've seen some tremendous batting from them in the recent World Cup. Couple of names here pop out. So which Aussie batter could trouble India's bowlers the most in this series? Is it Travis Head? Is it Glenn Maxwell? Is it Marcus Stoinis, who didn't play the semi and the final, remember? We saw the magic of Maxwell on one leg. Simon, if you had to pick one between the three in India in a T20 series, who would that be?
Oh, I think I have to pick Glenn Maxwell. Having worked with him at RCB a few years ago, there's no doubt he's a proven match winner. He's done so well, particularly in the last few years here in India. And what he did recently against Afghanistan at the Wankhede was amazing to watch. I mean, it's unheard of to think Australia was 7 for 90 and then Glenn Maxwell goes out there and gets a double 100. So I'd love to see him go out there and do that tonight, but it's only T20, he might not have enough balls.
Just a word on Travis Head as well, because we see 29% of the vote there, but he's just played a World Cup winning knock. Clearly one of those match winning talents that Australia lean on as well.
Yeah, look, he's red hot at the moment across all formats, and I think the management deserve a lot of credit for that. They've given him the opportunity in white ball cricket at the top of the order. He's grabbed it with both hands. Recently in South Africa, he got 91 off 48 balls at the top of the order. So he's got that form line, and I think now he's got that belief that he can do it anywhere in the world. He proved that the other night in the greatest test in the World Cup final, under pressure, chasing that 240 down.
Yeah, and this is the man that all of the world will be watching as well. He'll be hoping that maybe he'll have a little less work to do after what his heroics were in the last.
Doesn't look like he's playing today, looks like he's chilling, which is great.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you what India might be able to do to stop him, Ashba. From that visual, it looks like he may not play today. But how does India go about countering the threat of Travis Head?
See, when you talk about a guy like Travis Head, there's no doubt about it that he has been headache to many teams, and especially India. We have just seen especially those two finals. But the great things to see when it comes to Australian team management, captain, coach, or either selectors, see, they backed him. You know, they were in two minds, Ashton Agar, Labuschagne, Travis Head. So it shows that whole team management has backed him, and for that, why they are backing him? Because he has done so well, and he has shown team management that I can play all three formats. You have seen WTC final, you have seen 50 over final, and somebody can play in those two formats well, I'm sure. And when you talk about an opener, you can play this format surely, no doubt about it. And it's a big plus when it comes to Australia, Travis Head.
Yeah, and we saw what he did in the World Test Championship final as well, with a man of the match performance there. But he and Suryakumar Yadav will want to have a memorable stay out in the centre. That leads us quite nicely into our next segment, Memorable Stays, brought to you by Make My Trip.
Memorable Stays, brought to you by Make My Trip.
Simon, we've talked about memorable stays for both these batters in the middle. Talk us through some memorable stays for you at various hotels around the world. You've been delighted by hospitality of India and Asia as well, I'm sure.
Look, as international cricketers, we get looked after beautifully all around the world, but my greatest memory is definitely here in India. It happened in 2009. We were here for the Champions League T20 series for New South Wales, and we were looked after so well in Delhi at the hotel there that it felt like a home away from home. It felt like we were still in Sydney. And I think the thing about it that stood out to me was that every time you walk into your hotel room, the chefs had prepared beautiful sweets and pastries, and they'd even taken the time to make chocolates. They'd made chocolate stumps, chocolate bats. All our stats were on the little wicket that was made, and it had action photos and everything like that. So it was just so welcoming, and we loved our stay.
I have to say, when I think of memorable stays, I think of Ashish Nehra, who always makes my stay at any hotel much more memorable, the generosity of that man. So we all have very memorable stays, and you guys can make your stay a lot more memorable by booking your hotels on Make My Trip. Scan the QR code and get a lot more by paying less as well. We're going to slip into a short little breather here, and on the other side, we continue our build-up into this first T20 international between India and Australia.
और इसके साथ पारी की समाप्ति।
शेरवानी जी, एक शेर हो जाए इंडियन फैन जर्सी के नाम।
जरूर। अर्ज किया है, वर्ल्ड कप खत्म, अब ये जर्सी बेकार है। 4 दिन की चीयरिंग थी, अब तन्हाई भरी ड्रार है।
शेरवानी जी, सुनो भविष्यवाणी। जियो सिनेमा पे न जर्सी का पैकअप होगा न क्रिकेट का।
वाह, क्या बात है।
IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक इंडिया वर्सेस ऑस्ट्रेलिया T20I सीरीज, दूसरा T20 26 नवंबर शाम 6 बजे देखो जियो सिनेमा और कलर्स सिनेप्लेक्स पर।
This is the Northeast. The cold puts ice in our veins. The heat in our food puts the fire in our bellies. And our people remind us of the united in our name. Northeast United Football Club, stronger together.
Watch Indian Super League live on JioCinema, Sports 18 and VH1.
Stay focused, stay strong. And if they doubt you, prove them wrong. My heart won't bleed out till it drops. Never gonna stop till we collide. It's hard to see the light. We're gonna be the ones who are burning bright.
World records will be recalled. Pacer with the best bowling figures by an Indian in an ODI World Cup match. Teamwork will make all the difference when the best quizzing talent from India's schools will be put to the test. Coming soon only on Sports 18 and JioCinema.
Cricket's fastest format is back where it all started.
That's incredible.
Abu Dhabi T10 returns with a bang.
Oh boy.
It's raining sixes and cricket superstars. Don't miss it.
Live on JioCinema and Sports 18. Watch Indian Super League, Kerala Blasters FC versus Hyderabad FC. This Saturday, 7:45 PM onwards. Live on JioCinema, Sports 18 and VH1.
Welcome back as we continue our build-up to this first T20 international between India and Australia right here in Vizag. Tremendous conditions as well, and there's a lot to play for in the build-up to Mission 2024. We'll talk about that in just a bit, because when we have Ashish Nehra in the house, we know there's going to be no filter, there's going to be plenty of personality, no room for diplomacy. So therefore, we bring you No Filter Nehra.
No filter, mouth too snappy, snappy. Free speech got me chatty, chatty.
Pretty simple question, Ashish Nehra. In No Filter Nehra, I have to come to you and just ask you the simple question of whether Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, do you see them playing the 2024 World Cup? Do you see them playing more T20 international cricket for India?
See, the most important thing, I mean, it's a very, very simple question. It's not a tough question, that's for sure, you know, and I'm not being sarcastic here. It's up to those two how they see themselves. See, what's the parameter? What are the parameters to play? Either it's a 50 or any international cricket or T20. How many runs you are scoring? See, age is no criteria. These two guys you are talking about, see, we have spoken about Jaiswal, Rituraj Gaikwad, Shubman Gill. But if Rohit Sharma wants to play, they have to compete with him. Because here you're talking about a guy, and see, one word you have been using again and again, fearless, youngster. Here there is a 36-year-old, super youngster, fearless guy. So when you talk about people like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, again, see, World Cup is very far. If those two they want to play and they've been scoring runs, so they should, these youngsters, they have to beat them to come in the squad. Right, and I don't think so, and it shouldn't happen that this World Cup final loss or win shouldn't make any difference. You know, again, you're talking about Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, how you see your team's future, how selectors think, how those two they think, that's the most important part. If those two are scoring runs, they want to play, let's say a guy like Virat Kohli, playing IPL again, scoring 800 runs, 1000 runs, and the way Rohit Sharma is batting, any selector will be tempted. Although they might have a discussion, okay, I might not play, I might rest, but when it comes, unless they announce their retirement tomorrow, which I hope that's not the case in near future, they are good enough to play any format as long as they want, as long as they are scoring runs. And
We've seen them scoring runs very, very recently, but what kind of situation do we have for run scoring here? Pitch report coming your way with Deep Das Gupta and Maddie Hayden.
Focus back on T20Is, and here we are in Vizag for the first of the 5 T20Is between India and Australia. It's a pleasant evening and it's been kind of overcast, and that would suggest very little dew or maybe no dew whatsoever. As far as the pitch is concerned, I've got Matthew Hayden with me. Haydos, not a strand of grass. What you reckon this pitch is going to behave like?
Yeah, well, look, the average scores kind of suggests that it's going to be in the 120s, but I can tell you, it does not look like that one bit, because ultimately it's so hard. You can just hear that, and as you said, not a lot of cover on the wicket, but it's no cracks, even though you've got this sort of mosaic pattern to it at all. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of sideways movement. And Deep, I just want to discuss the outfield here as well, because the moment that I actually walked it and crossed that line, I thought about getting my putter. That's how hard it is. It is dead set really, really hard and super flat. So if it does go through this circle, it is the umpires doing it that way.
Fair enough. As Haydos mentioned, listen, the pitch is really good one to bat on. I can see the sheen already, so it's going to come onto the bat nicely. Outfield very quick, and it's a fairly biggish ground. So you expect what, 175, 180ish kind of a pitch or a game?
180.
180 it is. So that's how good this pitch is, and it seems to be a high-scoring game tonight.
Yeah, really important to get a good look at that pitch. Thank you, DDG and Matty Hayden, for that. Ashu, when we talk about Surya as captain, he's got the services of someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal. He's had a phenomenal 2023. He's one of those modern masters of the game in some sense already. We'd say that with an air of caution, but he's the guy that goes from ball one of those perfect elements in this current Team India.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you talk about this format. See, the only catch, we are again and again using fearless. You play positive, right? In the end, in one team, everybody, like if you ask Kato, he will not like as a captain or a coach 6 Maxwells in his team, even in this format. So Yashasvi Jaiswal is a guy, yes, he's a fearless cricketer. He has all the shots, and the good thing to see and the great thing to see in him is he got all the gears. I have said this earlier also. He's someone who has scored runs in Test cricket also and Ranji Trophy. It's not that somebody has come only from T20.
Yeah, and that's why all eyes will be on him if India bat first perhaps, but will they? That is a big question. We'll get our answer in just a few moments' time, because there are the two captains, the two new captains for India and Australia, Suryakumar Yadav and Matty Wade, standing by with Murli Karthik for the all-important toss. This series is set to kick off.
It's Visakhapatnam, and it's a renewal of this old rivalry, albeit in a different format. It's the IDFC First Bank T20 International Trophy, India versus Australia. New captain for India, Suryakumar Yadav, Matthew Wade for Australia. Match referee, Javagal Srinath, and the coin is in Surya's hands.
Heads. Heads is the call.
Heads is the call from Matthew. Surya, you won the toss. What have you decided and the reasons behind it?
We look to bowl first. I mean, wicket looks good, and we've known here that Dew comes in here later on, and the wicket gets better in the second half.
For you, contrasting emotions. Congratulations on being named the captain of India. But contrasting emotions in the last few days, how have you dealt with it?
As I said, the last 2 days it is a little difficult, but yeah, at the end of the day, as everyone says, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a lot of positives with when I joined the guys, and really looking forward to this series.
Yeah, a new coaching group, a new look side. What are the immediate goals with 11 games in the run-up to the next T20 World Cup? What are your immediate goals from this series and otherwise?
I think most important is how the atmosphere is in the team. The guys have played a lot of cricket when they play for the franchise and the domestic cricket they're coming from. So we don't need to tell them much. But yeah, at the same time, there has to be a lot of calm and composure in the dressing room. And that's it. I've just told them, just express yourself, just enjoy, do the same things, don't do anything different.
Yeah, it's the first game, so I'm not going to ask you the playing 11. Who are the guys missing out?
I think, let me see it again. But yeah. Washington, Shivam Dubey, Avesh and Jitesh, they miss out.
Have a great one. Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, mate.
Oh, well. Matthew, you got to bat first. What would you have done?
Yeah, we would have done the same thing. We probably would have had a bowl. Wicket looks maybe a little bit tacky, and maybe some dew later, so that were the only reasons.
Many congratulations to every one of you. But
thank you.
Personally for you, coming into this series, how important is this one for you and your side?
Yeah, every game or every opportunity we get to play for Australia, and especially in India, is important for us. So we've got a few changes, a few young players that get an opportunity to play in India for the first time. So yeah, we're excited. As you said, there's only 10 or 11 games till the next T20 World Cup. So important for guys to start to nail those spots down and get some continuity with our batting and bowling group.
And the guys who are missing out for you?
Yeah, we've given a few of the World Cup boys the day off. So Maxwell, Head, There's one other, Zampa. They're going to have a rest, and we'll see them throughout the series.
Thanks for the chat. Have a good one.
No worries at all.
So the news from here is that India have won the toss and they will bowl first. And now that the teams have decided they're playing 11, it's time for you to get on the Dream 11 app and choose yours.
So there you have it, Surya Kumar Yadav, a smile on his face, no hesitation whatsoever from him to elect to bowl first. And I guess, therefore, good time to bring Abhishek Nair back into the conversation as well. Abhishek, you've had a look at the pitch, as we all have as well. Looks a good black soil wicket. They want to be able to chase anything, to be honest, and they've got the confidence to do so with this batting unit.
That's quite an interesting decision, because I thought they'll choose to bat first today because it's a good batting track, a young Indian batting lineup, but it just shows signs of fearlessness. Even though there's less experience, they bank and they take the onus that they believe that they can chase those runs down. Yes, there would have been a thought when I was speaking to VVS about maybe the dew coming in later on. They have used this spray, but this ground has the tendency of having some dew later on. But I still feel it's going to be a great challenge for the Indian batters to come back and then chase whatever Australia put on the scoreboard.
Simon, what do you make of that decision? Because when you've got a young squad, I guess as Abhishek said and Ashish said earlier as well, temptation maybe to put runs on the board and take the pressure off the youngsters, but they are really putting them under the pump, aren't they, in the spotlight, and they seem confident enough to chase anything down, really.
Well, they've all come off very good side Mushtaq Ali Trophy tournament, and I think the other thing is a lot of them had very good IPLs earlier in the year, so they'll be buoyed by that confidence. The other thing with the decision is that there's been 10 games played between these two countries in India, and all 10 games have been won by the team chasing, so maybe that's part of it as well. But I think in terms of this venue, there's only been 3 T20s here in the past, and I think 2 of the 3 teams have won chasing, so maybe they see something in that.
And Abhishek, just a quick word on that man, VVS Lakshman, at the helm for this series, taking over from Rahul Dravid. He spent a lot of time at the NCA with a lot of these youngsters as well. What sort of role do you see him playing in this one?
Well, I think for any coach, he has spent a lot of time, like you said, at the NCA with everyone. He's also been part of the island in the Asian Games, so he has taken up this role before. The same support staff travelled at different places as well, so I think he'll pretty much know the strengths and weaknesses of all his players. It'll be more about managing them and understanding what roles to give them, giving them clarity and the platform to go out there and express themselves, play with absolute freedom, and that's what VVS has always done so well, even when he was with the Sunrisers team. So I believe that that's what he's going to try and do, manage this team well and give them the platform to go out and perform.
You know, just when you speak of the young Indian bowling contingent, I know we've spent a lot of time on the batters, but Arshdeep Singh, for instance, Abhishek, he's in many ways emerging as the leader of this young pace attack in the T20 format. A very different lineup versus the ODIs.
Well, he's not young anymore. He's played a couple of years for India now, was part of the World Cup in Australia, the T20 World Cup. So he has some experience. He knows what, we know what he can do with the new ball, get the ball to come back in, swings the ball both ways, specialist in the final 5. So we know what you get at Arshdeep. He has that experience. This bowling attack has a bit of experience. Prasidh as well was part of the World Cup squad. So I think all in all, you will have a lot of expectations going into the T20 World Cup 6 months from now, and a lot of hopes with a left-arm seamer in Arshdeep coming good for India.
You know, Kato, you've seen a lot of these guys as well from very close quarters, obviously in franchise cricket. The likes of Arshdeep, the way he's matured as a bowler as well, to be now the spearhead of this attack. He seems to love the responsibility.
Yeah, he certainly does. We've seen it in the IPL with Punjab. He obviously led Punjab recently to the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, where he took 4 for 23 in the final. So he's loving that lead role. And I think the beauty about his role is that he bowls the tough overs. He bowls a couple up front with a new ball, tries to take early wickets, and then he comes back in the middle and back end of the innings to bowl those big overs that can create the difference in the game.
Yeah, we heard from Surya at the toss of the players that are missing out. So let's just give you a look at India's playing 11 for this encounter. And as we said earlier, we expect fearlessness when you speak of this brand. Yashasvi Jaiswal at the top certainly gives you that, alongside Ruturaj Gaikwad coming off a win at the Asian Games himself as captain. Then Tilak Verma, Ishan Kishan, more left-handers with Rinku Aksar in the mix as well. Bishnoi, Arshdeep, Mukesh and Prasidh. Again, when you look at that pace attack, Prasidh Krishna hits the deck hard. He is going to be hungry for wickets too, Abhishek, Mukesh and Arshdeep. It makes for a very interesting trio, doesn't it?
Well, I think India's prided themselves on how they've developed faster bowlers. I think there was a time when you had 130, 135 click bowlers, but today they have an array of bowlers who can clock 140, 145. I feel Prasidh is one of them that India banks on, even towards the future in all three formats for India. We saw him come into the World Cup to replace Hardik Pandya. I think, that dugout has a lot of confidence in him. He's grown a lot as a bowler, when he was part of KKR to now leading this Indian attack. I think he rests and he understands that with his skill set, he can challenge most teams in any condition.
Yeah, let's just take a look at the Aussie 11 as well. Remember, these are the most recent ODI World Cup champions, a different format here, but you do have Stephen Smith and Matt Short at the top, Inglis, Hardy, who's come in to this setup as well. Berendorf, Tanvir Sangha gets a game as we expected ahead of Adam Zampa. Now, Steve Smith, we saw, Kato, that he was going to open the batting versus South Africa, and then he picked up that wrist injury. So in many ways, while we saw Travis Head take that opportunity with both hands when he was tested in those 3 ODIs after the last World Cup, could this be the case where Stephen Smith puts his hand up and says, look, I'm your T20 international opener?
I think he wants to, because I think we saw earlier this year in the BBL where he played about 5 games for the Sixers in January after the Test series was over, and he came out and scored about 360 runs, got 200s, and one of them was off about 55 balls. And in those games, I think he had 25 sixes in 5 games. So he wanted to show his power game. He's always had the class. He just changed his mindset. That's the big switch for Steve Smith. He's always been able to play all formats. It's just he hasn't quite had that same mindset, that fearless mindset that, say, Glenn Maxwell has. Walks out, tries to hit the second ball for 6. Steve Smith's now doing that. It's going to be interesting to see if he can do that out here tonight.
It is going to be interesting. It will be interesting to see which partnership clicks, because we have to talk about partnerships, and the partnership to watch out for, brought to you by Bharat Matrimony.
Partnership to watch out for, brought to you by Bharat Matrimony.
When we've got you, Simon, we have to talk about the openers. You've got Matt Short, you've got Steve Smith, you've got a bunch of others who have opened the batting in the past as well. But do you see that being the combination being used in this series?
Oh, look, I think while Travis Head is probably recovering from the celebrations of the World Cup, from all reports, he was obviously player of the match, but he was also probably best on ground, Norm Smith medalist, as we'd say in AFL terms. So I think he's partied up a storm, and I think he probably needs a bit of a breather. But Matt Short,
he deserves it.
Made his IPL debut earlier in the year for Punjab, did okay, has had some experience now, did well in South Africa with a 60-odd in his second game. So, look, he's got that ability to take the game on in the power play. And I think Steve Smith, we'll see an aggressive version of Steve Smith in this series. So I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to watching that partnership flourish. But also from the Indian perspective, we speak of these youngsters becoming modern masters of the game. And one of them spoke to us ahead of this series, a very confident, very quiet at the same time, Yashasvi Jaiswal.
काफ़ी अच्छा प्रिपरेशन चल रहा है हम सबका, और काफ़ी प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग शॉट्स पे वर्क कर रहे हैं और डिफरेंट विकेटों पे खेल रहे हैं, तो अच्छा प्रिपरेशन चल रहा है ओवरऑल। मैं तो ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं सोचता, मैं बस अपना कोशिश करते रहता हूँ कि मैं अपने प्रोसेस पे ध्यान दूँ और प्रैक्टिस करते रहूँ, और जो चीज़ें मुझे सीखनी है अपने सीनियर से बात करते रहूँ और कोचेस से बात करते रहूँ। अलग अलग शॉट्स के ऊपर प्रैक्टिस करते रहना है, और जितना मैं जैसे सोचता हूँ, मैं यही सोचता हूँ कि मैं ब्रेव डिसीजन लेते रहूँ और टीम के हिसाब से खेलने की कोशिश करता रहूँ। मुझे ऐसा लगता है अभी मैं सीख ही रहा हूँ अभी काफ़ी चीज़ें, जैसे कि मैं जब वेस्ट इंडीज़ खेला, आयरलैंड खेला और चाइना में खेला, हर जगह डिफरेंट कंडीशन था, डिफरेंट विकेट थे, डिफरेंट एनवायरनमेंट था, तो काफ़ी मतलब मेरे दिमाग में ये रहता है कि मैं वहाँ जाके अपने आप को जितना जल्दी यूज़ टू करूँ उतना बढ़िया है और विकेट के हिसाब से टीम के लिए खेलते रहूँ।
It's amazing to see the rise of Yashasvi Jaiswal and the way that he's gone about his business too, but he's already got a T20 International 100 on the bowling side of things, given that India will be holding that ball first. Abhishek Mukesh had a great series versus the West Indies, kind of has a role set for him, doesn't he? And he executes that to perfection, a captain's dream in many ways.
Well, I think it's interesting you said about, you spoke about a role, because when he played for Delhi Capitals, he bowled the newer ball and didn't really bowl in the final 5. But I think on the West Indies series, the role that he was given by Hardik Pandya was to bowl in the middle overs and the death. So it's going to be interesting as to how Surya Kumar Yadav now uses him. Does he bowl the new ball, or is it going to be Prasidh Krishna and Arshdeep Singh? Because his strength ideally whenever he's played domestic cricket has been to take that new ball for Bengal, get wickets up top and then bowl in the final 4. But it's going to be interesting because how he bowls in this series is going to determine how India is looking at him, not only now, but also in the future.
And Abhishek, you were at practice yesterday where you saw all the bowlers nailing those Yorkers. Mukesh was certainly one of them. Really nice to give you guys at home exclusive access into the net sessions as well, right here on JioCinema and Sports 18. But this is where all the hard yards are done, isn't it? In the nets. If you can't do it there, you can't do it under pressure with 40,000 people watching you.
Well, I think that's where the mental tuning starts. It's where you start visualizing. It's where you start putting yourself in positions where you may face pressure here. So it's that preparation, not only physically, not only getting the ball to hit the shoe and getting those Yorkers right, but also mentally, stimulating your mind to deal with pressure. So I think, like you rightly said, that's where it begins, and the transition is what you see there.
And then when you've got the Aussie batters up against the Indian bowling lineup, you can't ignore a certain Ravi Bishnoi because, again, we promise not just cricket but plenty of entertainment, plenty for any one of you sitting at home, whatever those interests might be. But right now, what we're all interested in is the outcome of this series, and I guess there's a lot to play for because we speak of that World Cup being not long from now, about 6 months from now, Abhishek. There's only 11 games for these sides. Series prediction, not just today, but overall series prediction from you.
Well, I think I'd love to be very positive and go 5-0, but I...
And this young kid, Tanveer Singh, is one to watch out for as well.
We're going to watch out for all of those guys, but also the likes of Rinku Singh and so much young, fearless, bold talent coming from India. And this is where it all begins. The first of the IDFC First Bank India versus Australia T20 internationals. It is India who are bowling first, Australia with the bat in hand. Here we go.
और इसके साथ पारी की समाप्ति
शेरवानी जी एक शेर हो जाए इंडियन फैन जर्सी के नाम।
जरूर अर्ज किया है। वर्ल्ड कप खत्म, अब ये जर्सी बेकार है। 4 दिन की चीयरिंग थी, अब तन्हाई भरी ड्रार है।
शेरवानी जी सुनो भविष्यवाणी। जियो सिनेमा पे न जर्सी का पैकअप होगा न क्रिकेट का।
वाह क्या बात है।
IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक इंडिया वर्सेस ऑस्ट्रेलिया T20I सीरीज दूसरा T20 26 नवंबर शाम 6 बजे देखो जियो सिनेमा और कलर सिनेप्लेक्स पर।
ऑस्ट्रेलिया 130 पे ऑल आउट, इंडिया तो 170।
आराम से क्रॉस करेगी। अब मैच का भविष्य बताओ और अपना भविष्य चमकाओ। क्योंकि जीतो धन धनाधन कॉन्टेस्ट फिर आ गया है। इंडिया वर्सेस ऑस्ट्रेलिया देखिए, अपना फोन घुमाइए, आसान सवालों का जवाब दीजिए, जीतो धन धनाधन जियो सिनेमा पे।
Stay focused, stay strong, and if they doubt you, prove them wrong. My heart won't bleed out till it drops. Never gonna stop till we collapse. When it's hard to see the light, we're gonna be the ones who are burning bright.
World records will be recalled. Pacer with the best bowling figures by an Indian in an ODI World Cup match. Teamwork will make all the difference when the best quizzing talent from India's schools will be put to the test. Coming soon only on Sports 18 and JioCinema.
Cricket's fastest format is back, where it all started.
That's incredible!
Abu Dhabi T10 returns with a bang.
Oh boy!
It's raining sixes and cricket superstars. Don't miss.
We're in the eastern city of India and Visakhapatnam, a laid-back city, and it's the start of the 5-match T20 series between India and Australia. It's a lovely ground here, always well supported, and you can see there'll be a very good turnout here today. So India taking Australia, and this is from the ACA VDCA Stadium here in Visakhapatnam, and it's important times this because from one World Cup we move to the other World Cup, the T20 World Cup, which will take place in the month of June and July in the West Indies and in the United States of America. So a good turnout here today, and it's a young Indian side against a young Australian side as well. Plenty of talent, plenty of excitement. And it's always nice to come to this part of the world. And this is the schedule. They'll go across India, Visakhapatnam to Trivandrum, Thiruvananthapuram, then Guwahati in the east, then Raipur gets a game, and then Bangalore, the final game on the 3rd of December. So when you go head to head, it's 15 for India, 10 for Australia. So we just had the toss a little while ago. And it was India who won the toss and decided to field first. So Surya Kumar Yadav captaining India, Matthew Wade captaining Australia. I've got with me Murli Karthik and Matthew Hayden. Edos, what do you make of this Australian side? Good evening all.
Well, the first thing you'll notice here, there's 3 players missing from the final: Head, Maxwell and Zampa. And also no David Warner, so Smith comes into that role. It's a powerful top 4. Of course, Stoyner is sitting in there as an all-rounder. Tim David bowls some off-spin. You've got 3 seamers of note, and young Sangha as well, the leg spinner. So they've got plenty of options. A good, powerful, mobile team as well that can really put a bit of pressure in the field.
Good evening, everyone. Yep, as you rightly said, Ravi, it is brimming with talent. Lots of new faces, lots of young faces. Ruturaj Gaikwad has had a taste of international cricket. Yashasvi Jaiswal has done well. The limited chances he's got. Ishan Kishan, part of the World Cup team. Tilak Verma, another left-hander. Rinku, lots of left-handers. Akshar Patel, the spin twins, Akshar and Bishnoi. No Washington Sundar, and Arshdeep has to hit his straps. Mukesh and Prasad Krishna, the other 2 seamers. So lots of talent in this Indian team.
So Javagal Srinath walking out with the umpires, and the stage set for a very good contest. This will be a good series. Two good young sides, like I mentioned. Plenty of exciting players and a great opportunity for these young players to make a mark, because India play 11 games, T20 games, before they pick the team for the World Cup, which I mentioned will be held in the West Indies and in the United States of America. That's in the month of June and July. So out comes Surya Kumar Yadav, Matthew Wade for Australia, as the two teams come out for the national anthems.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
ऑस्ट्रेलिया 130 पे ऑल आउट। इंडिया तो 170 आराम से क्रॉस करेगी। अब मैच का भविष्य बताओ और अपना भविष्य चमकाओ, क्योंकि जीतो धन धनाधन कॉन्टेस्ट फिर आ गया है। इंडिया वर्सेस ऑस्ट्रेलिया देखिए, अपना फोन घुमाइए, आसान सवालों का जवाब दीजिए, जीतो धन धनाधन जियो सिनेमा पे।
Stay focused, stay strong, and if they doubt you, prove them wrong. My heart won't bleed out till it drops. Never gonna stop till we collide. It's hard to see the light. We're gonna be the ones who are burning bright.
Watch Indian Super League, Kerala Blasters FC versus Hyderabad.
The form wasn't the same, now back in the side. He's got the potential, can bowl at any stage, can bowl at the top, can bowl at the depth. It'll be interesting to see how Steve Smith goes. And good evening, Murli Khartik.
Good evening, Ravi. Good evening, Haydas. Good evening, everyone. I think you're absolutely right when you kick-started the proceeding saying that this Indian team has got a lot of talent, lots of young players wanting to stamp or make an impression on the selectors. The road to T20 World Cup starts for all of them. They've done well. You mentioned Arshdeep Singh. How crucial was he when he played that last World Cup in Australia? And after the likes of Ashish, Zach, and also with the likes of Mohsin, Khalil Ahmed, those crop of left-armers who really impressed. I think India would be sweating on how he goes, especially how he can partner with Jasprit Bumrah. As I said, different phase bowler. So Arshdeep Singh, a big series ahead of him.
Well, it lends that variety as a left-armer. It's so important to have in a side. Just like you want left-handers in your batting lineup, it's important to get that variety in your bowling lineup as well. So all set for play to start, and here's Arshdeep Singh. Straight away some swing. Surya Kumar Yadav mentioned he won the toss and decided to bowl first because of some dew later on. That first delivery, good presentation of the seam.
But don't worry about later on as well, Ravi. Just out there at the moment, the fast bowlers were trundling around at the popping crease and it was a little tacky. So that delivery, to me, first delivery of the evening, looked like it was just stopping a little bit as well.
Good carry, gets away. Rohan Pandit standing in his first game in men's internationals. Oh, he's not happy. Normally umpires are very clear on anything down the leg side, and he's off and away. With a typical Steve Smith shot, hit on the up, he finds the boundary.
And what about this outfield as well? I said at the pitch report that even as a non-lover of golf, as much as my dear commentator here, I felt like getting out the putter as well. It's hard and flat. It's like an absolute perfect green. And look at this. Screams away to the boundary.
Gives Steve Smith the opportunity to just go out there and express himself. Play freely.
It's interesting when you look down at the Australian cricket team, they've almost gone the opposite approach. With the World Cup being so close, they've still retained some of their older players. Smith in particular. Stoinis has been around a long time, as has Wade, Abbott, Behrendorff. some of the younger players coming through there. There's probably only 5 or 6 of them in the squad, whereas India for this T20 tournament have gone, you know what, we're going to have a really good look at our young talent. We don't necessarily care about what's coming in this World Cup. We'll maybe start to think about the World Cup after that. That'll be inevitably another couple of years away. We, of course, get the great privilege to watch these young players go around in IPL cricket. Kartik, they are really cemented. They get used to the pressure of the international stage.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why they've all been given a chance. They've just won the Asian Games gold medal. Many of these players were there. Ruturaj Gaikwad, we all know how good he is. Yashasvi Jaiswal, what a cracker of an IPL he had. Ishan Kishan lurking in the shadows of the 50-over World Cup, himself a dasher at the top. A lot of talented batters out there. Surya, the best T20 player or the batter in the world, swings it around. Good stop. The first over done, it's 7 without loss.
So 7 for no loss. Prasid Krishna will share the attack with Ashdeep Singh. Another fine talent, unfortunately plagued by injuries. Oh, that's hit hard, very hard. Second boundary for Smith. And how quickly did that ball race away to the boundary?
Yeah, it's a format where you need no second invitation. Steve Smith, he's got fast hands. Literally came onto the bat as nicely as he would have wanted it. No chance for Akshar Patel standing at point.
He's going to have some fun.
He's in a hurry, Ravi. He wants to go and go big early. And I'm also a little surprised because from this end, that Prasid's bowling, it looks like it's coming through nicely. And at the pitch report, I said it was going to be a high-scoring match, but I think it's going to be quite a decent total here tonight. I think around about that 170 at least is par score.
It looks like our head, it does. Barron, clean-shaven.
Not quite as sheeny.
Another one. That's the best of the lot. That raced away. Total control.
Wide and short. And Steve Smith loves to play a cut shot. He's so good through that area through point. That was a real gift. The first one I thought was a decent shot. Look at this. That was wide and exactly in the zone he wanted. He leapt back into it. He's got that 11-metre gap, which he put right through the middle.
Well, just seeing the mood he's in, it looks as if he's said to himself, I've had enough of the cold drums. I'm out on a beach now. I'm going to have some fun and express myself.
It's got that mosaic pattern to it. Not a lot of movement, quite hard. Hard, but the bowlers, as I said before, their spikes were just going through it. So you might find that there's, especially down that far end, just a little tacky. Ball might just hold up, the hard ball that is.
Much better delivery. The line was good, length was good. Well, they go upstairs.
TV umpire to director. We have an umpire review for run out that the wicketkeeper's in. Can you give me the best side on angle, please? Back grounded. I'm ready with my decision for the big screen.
So that brings Matthew Short on strike. One thing you'll see with this Indian side, should be a good fielding side. A lot of young players there. Plenty of energy.
Also what Surya has done, in spite of being hit for 2 boundaries, that too on the offside, is given him that slip. He hasn't moved it.
And that's pulled away. A short delivery and put away by Short. 2 gone, 20 for no loss.
We're not mucking around here, Australia. 10 and over right from the get-go, so you can tell they want to make some early inroads into this Indian attack. Boundaries coming both sides of the wicket.
So 13 off that over. So they've got off to a flyer. So the 2 opening bowlers put under pressure straight away. Intent very clear from Australia. So far, good carry, good bounce.
Well, you don't really think that Smith is an established T20 cricketer, but certainly last year in the Big Bash League, played these sort of shots, smashing through cover point, and in total control. His 5 innings coming with 346 runs and an average of 85, and guess this, a strike rate of 174. That's in the Big Bash League, so that's as an opener as well.
Interesting you say that, Haydos, because I still remember the year when he turned out for Pune Warriors and I was his teammate, and I've got Deep Das Gupta over here as well. He had a very different role, and that was to be an enforcer. He came in at 5 or 6, and from the get-go he would just get on with it. He was that kind of a player, and the transformation he's had, to think of him, just look at him, his average by position, as he said, as a at around 3, he averages around 35.
Again, good placement. There is a man in the deep. Suggests the single.
It's interesting how he has transformed as a player. He became a great in tests, but his T20 numbers dipped after that.
Well, it's a really interesting place, T20 cricket, because he's sitting inside the top 3, you get the maximum opportunities, and he's had none at the top there, as you can see. But at number 3, when the ball's still hard, you may lose 1 or 2 wickets, and you become the enforcer while the fields are up. And I think that's because he's such a class player. He hits great gaps, plays conventional cricket. Doesn't necessarily have the power game, that is to say, scoring in maximums. But he certainly punishes the gap.
And that is exactly what he did. Coming in at number 6, playing for Pune Warriors, he was the enforcer. Immediately, change of pace, immediately realizing what needs to be done. He's been good so far. Arshdeep has got the ball to swing a bit, and just changing his style with what is on offer from the surface.
Good fielding, saved a certain boundary. Akshar Patel back in the side.
It's lightning fast. Good hands there, just timing his dive with the bounce. What an opportunity missed for him as well. It's such a good play, was in good form. Injury at the wrong time.
He's been unlucky. He's been unlucky with injuries. Timing of those injuries hasn't